a Cumulus media station, the voice of the Central New York sports fan, The Score, 1260. Welcome to your home for local sports in Syracuse. Outside the Box Score with Mark Rowlands starts right now.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Good show for you today. Big show for you. We've got a special guest joining us in just a few minutes, the head coach of the Oswego men's basketball team, Jason Leone. One of my favorites. I always love talking to Coach Leone.
Oh, yeah.
I've interviewed him a number of times on the radio. Interviewed him back in college when I was covering the men's basketball team at Oswego. Really great guy. Tremendous coach. And listen, I've said it in the past that, it's like I'm talking to arguably the best college basketball coach in Central New York.
Yeah.
Now that Mr. Boeheim has retired, we will be talking to inarguably the best college basketball coach in Central New York, who leads the best college basketball team in Central New York. SUNY Oswego 23-1 on the season. One loss. They're top 5 team in the country yet again. They've been ranked as highly as number 4 this year in the D3 basketball rankings. They're likely going to go on to win the SUNYAC again, something that they've made a mainstay of this organization in recent years. Likely going to host NCAA tournament teams again. It's
incredible.
It's incredible.
The difference in that school's culture since we started there to
Yeah.
now, that 10-year stretch is insane.
It's a basketball school.
Yes.
It absolutely is a basketball school now. And, by the way, just won whiteout last week.
Oh, yeah.
Swept Plattsburgh on the season, so go Lakers.
Donnybrook broke out at the end.
Oh, yeah. There was a little brawl that, these two teams hate each other.
I love it. I love good rivalry.
They're fantastic. And I've got to get the guy's last name because I need to
From the broadcast?
give him yes. Dom Perrone was the play-by-play man for WNYO during that game. I listened to the entirety of the third period pretty much. And Dom did a fantastic job, and I gave him a lot of props on Twitter. But it was so funny because listening to the call, it's like, and Oswego has swept Plattsburgh and won whiteout as a fight immediately breaks out on the ice. Like, he just immediately goes into and there's a fight. And it's just, that's rivalry. That's rivalry in college sports, is a fight breaking out immediately after. Braylon, are you okay?
It's happening again.
Oh, no. The old Braylon, the throat's just not agreeing with you today,
I don't know what it is. It's just been happening to me lately, and it just keeps coming back.
Oh, no.
Gotta get that checked out.
Yeah.
Probably.
But so it's big time right now for Oswego sports. Very excited to talk to Coach Jason Leone. We're going to do that in just a couple minutes. Other things to talk about today, Syracuse men's basketball. Obviously coming off a huge win on Tuesday night.
Massive.
I was in the JMA Wireless Dome. I was on the court after the game. Yes, I stormed the court. So I'm going to talk about that. One of the better experiences I've had in the Dome in a long time. And
this team,
man. This team. And
I
can't wait for them to lose to Georgia Tech today.
Is that one of those special quadrant 1 wins now?
Yeah,
that's got to stay.
We got one.
Yeah, we finally have one that's going to stay.
Yeah.
I also still have a problem with the net rankings.
Pitt might work us into a couple quad wins.
Yeah, I know.
Pitt keeps rising, dude.
I hope they do. We'll talk some SU women's basketball. Of course, we got to talk about Caitlin Clark, who's been a mainstay on this show. Now the all-time leading scorer in women's college basketball history, chasing down Pistol Pete Maravich for that men's and women's record.
Jeez.
So we're going to talk about her. And it's a special show today.
Oh?
It is, tomorrow is officially the day, but it's the 1-year anniversary of this show. On February 18th, 2023, I had my first broadcast as the host of this show, and we are now 364 days from that date. So I was hoping to get my first guest, Bob Perino, as well today.
He big time?
He's under the weather. He said in the text message, he goes, Mark, I know this is going to be hard to believe, but I'm quite sick and having trouble talking. And I said, Coach, that's the least believable thing you've ever said to me. But we're going to get him on in the next couple weeks because it is also college baseball season.
Yeah.
LeMoyne getting underway. Local kid, Jed Boyle, and his St. John's team, the Red Storm, took down number 2 Florida yesterday. I will probably get on my soapbox and tell people to watch college baseball like I do around this time every year. I sent out the tweet yesterday. I'll probably do it on the show today.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said, big show. What do you got?
Doesn't it just look like baseball season? You walk outside, you're
Yeah.
like, God, this is it. Throw me the heater.
I love the start of baseball season in Central New York because it's like
a lot of turtlenecks under those jerseys.
Oh yeah.
Kids that come here that aren't from here, and they're like, what the hell am I doing? Do I really want to play baseball?
Yeah. It's funny, but we're going to take a timeout, come right back with Coach Jason Leone from Oswego men's basketball team right here on Outside the Box Score on the Score 1260.
500 pre-owned SUVs and trucks, all here at Drivers Village. Don't overpay for used elsewhere. DV aggressively reprices our used daily. You'll see the difference. Over 300 SUVs, 150 certified, hundreds under $25,000. And every DV pre-owned vehicle comes with a minimum 12-month, 12,000-mile warranty. That's why we're the choice for pre-owned. The Verdict Used Car and Truck Warehouse at Drivers Village. See why at dvused.com.
Mix a little sports analysis, pop culture, and great interviews, and you've got the Rich Eisen Show podcast.
Brian Windhorst here. Let's revisit the Lakers again.
All I can tell you is the Lakers are coming in under expectations right now. LeBron is 39. LeBron has an option on his contract. The Lakers don't know whether they're going to have their draft pick. I don't know what's going to happen with Bronny James, whether he's in the draft or not. And if he is in the draft, I don't know where he's going to take him. These are all unanswered questions. And that was what makes this kind of a fascinating thing to watch.
No doubt.
The Rich Eisen Show podcast, wherever you listen.
Honey, what else can we put in the recycling?
You can throw those egg cartons and frozen pizza boxes in there.
No, you can't.
Wait, we can't?
No.
Where did that voice come from?
Okay, weird. Hey, what about these old cords and this old hose?
No, those are not recyclable. Remember, when in doubt, throw it out. The voice you just heard is me, Kevin from Syracuse Hollers. Knowing what to recycle can be difficult. When in doubt, throw it out. If you're not sure if it's recyclable.
Stop with the dogs. It's enough.
I agree.
They don't need to go out with you everywhere.
I agree.
I don't want to see them when I'm drinking a beer. If I'm out at Myers Creek, a beautiful establishment that probably allows dogs.
They do.
I don't want to see your fucking dog. I'm sorry. I know we're on the rate. I don't. I hate it. It's enough. Your dog's not that cute, too. By the way, I'm starting to think I don't like dogs just because
I'm starting
of the
to
dog
think
culture.
I'm starting to think you don't like dogs. And
it's also
your dog.
What?
Your dog doesn't
Oh,
help.
I hate my dog.
Yeah.
That's a non-starter. Okay, but I think I just don't like dogs nowadays. I think it's a white woman thing too, by the way.
Yeah,
I've never
very well
seen
could be.
It's always white women who think that their dog's the best. I got to bring my dog. Enough. If you're in the chat, Jim, you like dogs?
Jim is in the chat. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Pleased to be joined once again by one of my favorite guests I have on this show. He's the head coach of the men's basketball team at SUNY Oswego, Coach Jason Leone. Coach, how are we doing today? Thank you, Coach. It really is always a pleasure to talk to you because every time we talk, there's pretty much only positive things to talk about. It seems like we haven't had anything negative to talk about with Oswego basketball in a very long time. Your team's 23-1, top 10 team, top 5 team nationally once again. I mean, how does this make you feel as a coach that you just know every game your guys are going to go out there and give you everything that they've got on the court? Mm-hmm.
And we have players in our program that have been here, 4 or 5, one guy 6 years due to all the COVID and unfortunate injury thing that happened with the one young man. So there's great continuity in our program. I've been here 13 years. We've had numerous seniors go through the program now, and it's certainly a flag that we carry for our alums and our fans, the way that the team has played here, in particular the last 3 years where we've been on this incredible journey together.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned the continuity. My partner and I here, Josh, were talking before the show. He's like, there can't be anyone left from when we were there, right? And I'm looking at Jeremiah Sparks and Caleb Cook, Key Anderson, Julian Crittenden, Jamal Akil. Like, a lot of these guys were there when I was calling their games. I mean, I remember talking about Jeremiah Sparks as a freshman when he was this raw talent coming in. Now he's averaging almost 20 points a game. Seeing the growth of your players along with the continuity, it must be great. But the way that these guys have grown as athletes and as people has got to be one of the more satisfying things of being a college coach.
Yeah, they've owned every part of this. And of course, part of what we do as coaches, especially at this level in Division III where the student athletes aren't on scholarship, is there's so much time and effort put into not only the growth that occurs within sport, but the personal growth that you see. And one of my favorite things about coaching at Oswego is the type of diverse student athlete that we are able to recruit at this college. And you mentioned Jeremiah. Jeremiah is someone who's lived in different places during his life. He's had many different sets of parental figures in his life, and he's really overcome a lot of adversity in his life. And he's going to graduate in May. He's close to a 3.0 student. He's going to have his degree, and he's one example, but there's so many other different examples of guys that we've had with this particular group that not only have progressed with their, basketball ability, but just to go into practice every day, having the ability to actually coach the team and not have to massage egos and worry about guys that maybe are unhappy with role, playing time, things like that. It's allowed our team to really play well at the right times during the year because, there's not a lot of outside, influences or negativity that goes on within the program. And that's a tribute to our players being ultra focused.
Coach, you mentioned that your team plays a very exciting brand of basketball, and I tend to agree. I've always liked the brand of basketball that you've tended to preach while coaching at Oswego. I've always found it to be exciting. But tell the fans that maybe aren't too familiar with how your team plays, what the style of Oswego hoops is this year.
Well, I mentioned about player growth, and I too have, kind of like went through a metamorphosis, so to speak, of how I really wanted to coach our teams here at Oswego. Truthfully, I wasn't in my eyes, wasn't a very accomplished offensive coach when I got here.
Mm-hmm.
I really leaned on a longtime assistant here, Bill Farden, where he's really taught me a lot about offensive basketball. And I think one thing that is very difficult when you're a young coach is to identify how you want your teams to play. I think defensively, that's a little bit easier because there's a little bit more of a tangible, you go here, you go there when this happens. Offense is a little bit more abstract. It's kind of like a painting, so to speak. And there's a lot more intangibles that go into it. And trying to create proper spacing for players to excel is a really big challenge in offense, right? And you also want to make sure that your better players are being put in positions where they can excel. And it took me a long, long time to figure out how I wanted to do that within our program. And although COVID was a really bad thing, one good thing that came of it is I almost had a 1-year sabbatical from coaching where I got a chance to really do a deep dive into how I really wanted our teams to play. Now, a big part of our offense is we have tremendous players.
Mm-hmm.
So a small portion of it is schematic, but having great players, it always starts there. But then, I think there's some things that we do where we really, like a lot of teams nowadays, try to force pace, and we've incorporated some more pressure defense concepts that have generated offense for our teams. And we run a lot of dribble drive concepts where we're constantly getting the ball into the lane. I think good things happen on offense when players get into the lane and force a secondary defender to help. And then, then you have to implore upon your players to make the right play and pass to the open man. And it really can be that simple, but it sounds simple, but it's really hard to get the players to execute.
Something I noticed when reading up on the team this year, and I've caught a couple of the games on WNYO broadcasts, but I haven't been able to keep up as much as I would have liked, is you've got 2 players averaging in double figures in scoring. That's all. You're 23-1 with 2 players averaging in double figures. And, Jeremiah Sparks, like I mentioned before, 19.5 points, 14 points for Akey Anderson. Is that schematic to try to spread the ball around as much as humanly possible? Or is it just the flow of the game dictates that?
Well, the last 3 years, and this isn't to be braggadocious, it's a little bit more difficult to analyze our cumulative stats as a team because we have had a lot of lopsided scores.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is when your primary rotational players, like for instance, like last night, we had a lopsided game where my starters only played between 15 and 20 minutes in the game.
Yeah.
So you're going to have stretches where you're playing maybe some tougher opponents where they're playing 25 to 35 minutes a game. And then sometimes you get these outliers where, the guys are really playing 15 to 18 minutes. That's why I always caution when people look at Jeremiah, if he was playing someplace where he was playing a lot more closer games, his stats would probably be even greater than what they are. But, I'm digressing, but, the thought is you want to have obviously 4 or 5 guys averaging in double figures. I think what we've had this year is the 2 guys are clearly first and second options with Jeremiah and Akey. But then we have more guys that are in that range of averaging between 5 and 9 points a game than we have in the past couple of years. So those things I don't think you can completely choreograph some of those numbers, but we certainly emphasize having a very balanced attack.
Coach, you were being humble. You said lopsided victory last night. It was, for the folks at home, it was 111-70 against Fredonia last night. 41-point victory for the Lakers. Take us through the game a little bit, Coach. What was the game plan going in? Have you changed the game plan much since December 28th, the last time this team lost? Or is it just more so go out there and do your thing because that's what's winning basketball games?
Well, I think the one nice thing is when you have a group of older players that are accustomed to understanding what it takes to win, it allows you to kind of, focus a little bit more on, doing the things that you are supposed to do and less on what your opponents do, right? So we really have spent a little bit more time the last couple of years on doing things that I think are beneficial and motivational in nature for our group and not worrying as much about our opponent. The game last night, it's the last conference week of the season. Fredonia and Buffalo, the team we're playing today, have both been eliminated from the playoffs. So that's a tough situation for them and their kids. We wanted to make it a very high possession game. So we're not necessarily a pressing team, but we are an opportunistic pressing team. But last night we came out and pressed from the very beginning of the game. And we will today as well, just to try to generate as many possessions as we can throughout the game and use our depth, which I think is a strength against these 2 particular opponents. But on a game-by-game basis, we're not a team that presses from start to finish.
Now, Coach, I know last year went on a run to the Elite 8 in the tournament, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
This year reached as highly as number 4 in the rankings nationally for Division III basketball. What's the mindset? Obviously, you've got the SUNYAC tournament coming up, and that's you got to win that, make sure you get in, and I fully expect Oswego to win the SUNYAC. But Are your thoughts already on the NCAA tournament at all?
I'm sorry, you cut out there for a second. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. So you've got the SUNYAC tournament coming up, but looking ahead based on your recent success with the program, are you looking ahead to the NCAAs at all already?
No, because I think that's going to be a natural thing for the people around the program. But we have a lot of things that we need to accomplish. Like, first of all, today's game is our senior day, and we want to really play well for our seniors and make sure that we take care of business today at home. And that would give us, we're playing for something pretty special today. If we win today, we'll finish undefeated in conference play in the regular season.
Yep.
And then we go into the SUNYAC tournament. Our program has never won the league 3 consecutive years. And I think that's a really important thing and something that our guys have really talked about a lot throughout the season as being one of their things that they wanted to accomplish together. These are things that they come up with. They're not things that I necessarily put in their heads. So I think that's really important to them, and especially to do it at home. And then obviously you're looking at, quite frankly, an opportunity to go through the whole conference undefeated, which that puts you in a very select group. We did it. The first team that I coached here, we did it. We were 21-0 and went through the whole year undefeated. And this would be an opportunity for us to win the 3rd championship in a row in the league in school history, and only one other school in the history of our league has done that. So that's pretty select company right there. So I think our guys are pretty focused on that. And then you go in segments this time of year, Mark. You get done with one thing, and then you start talking about the next thing. And I think it's really important that the guys enjoy the postseason, because it's been a challenge with this team. It sounds crazy because I'm not complaining. We're 23-1, but one of the challenges this year was getting our team not to look forward to this point during the season. And it's very honestly that it's been a big challenge this year to get them to focus in practices. Sometimes they're an older group; they know what to expect. They're very mature, but obviously, not to quote Nick Saban, but he is one of my favorite coaches. The complacency thing, that's rat poison, right? And when you have everybody around you telling you Final Four or bust, that's a very challenging thing for 21 and 22-year-olds to keep their head down and keep focused. And I think our guys have done an admirable job with that.
Coach, as much as I love talking Oswego hoops, I know you're also a Syracuse basketball fan from the area. I know you are.
Die hard. Like die hard.
I was at the Dome the other night for the North Carolina game. I'm with you in being a diehard SU basketball fan. What have your thoughts been on the team this year? What are your thoughts on Red in his first year as the head coach? Give us the Jason Leone breakdown of Orange hoops for this year.
Well, I think Red's done a great job. And those guys, I'm friends with those guys. I think one of the harder things to do in sports, I think you'd agree with this, Mark, is to replace a legend.
Yes.
And Coach Boeheim has been so good to me over the years, and I do miss seeing him on the sidelines. But I think the way that he left and passed the torch, I think it was done properly. And I think, Red has done a great job in the first year. I think there's clearly some things that they would tell you that they have, lined up and goals in terms of recruiting and moving the program forward and getting it to a level where, they're in that talk with making, runs in the NCAA tournament. But those things happen in steps, but I think this year's team, I think it's been a nice change, not necessarily necessary, but I think the team is playing, more up tempo, which I think the kids today, they really like that. I like the way that he's mixed and matched his defenses. Like the other night, to me, other than the 60% shooting, the reason they won the game was because of the way they played the zone.
Yep.
And I think that's it takes a lot of guts as a coach to follow an iconic coach and go with your gut and do things where there's change. I think that's a really hard thing to do. And that change doesn't happen successfully in one calendar year. And a huge difference between, let's say, Oswego and Syracuse is there's a lot more interest in the Syracuse and a lot more money at hand in the Syracuse program there is Oswego State. So that truly takes guts to do
Mhm.
what Red's doing and how well he's done it. When there's so much more on the line at that level.
I do want to ask. So Syracuse is like 85th in the net ranking right now.
Yep.
I've become obsessed with the net rankings, Coach. I don't understand how they work. I don't understand how Syracuse is so low and why Pitt is ahead of them. Do you have any insight that would help me figure out why net?
The net is so the net's kind of like the KenPom rankings, right?
Yeah, it takes KenPom into consideration, and there's a million things that go into it. I don't understand it.
Yeah, so it takes into account. I can't speak about the net, but the KenPom stuff, because we have somebody that does it Division III as well. It basically takes into account things like the strength of your opponent and pace of play, and it's an analytical measure of data, right?
Yeah.
So here's my thing. Is that Division I, there should be some level of the committee with like an eyeball test and things like that. And I'm with you. I don't understand how they're ranked behind certain teams and that type of thing as well. I do know this. Syracuse has, I think, 6 games left. If they go and win 6 games, or let's just say realistically 5 out of those 6 games, and they're the right 5 wins, and they win a couple games, I still think Syracuse controls their own destiny. And I think, from a coaching perspective, I can't speak for Red, but when you live your life day by day, checking those rankings and all that, that's a very debilitating form of torture. And look at Red's been doing it as long as I have. I don't want to speak for him, but I would guess that he's probably talking to his team about playing good basketball. And they beat North Carolina, who I think is the best team in the conference.
Yep.
So that, to me, logically tells me there's not a team in the league that they can't beat. And if they go and play well the last 6 games and then in the ACC tournament, I think they will be firmly in consideration for the NCAA tournament.
Well, I agree with you. I think if they win out and win at least one game in the ACC tournament, I absolutely think this team should be a tournament team. Based on some of the wins they've had, and I know when they lose, they lose. They really, this team knows how to lose games, Coach. Coach, I want to thank you so much for being on. Always a pleasure to talk to you. I'm going to make sure I get out to the Maxiel Gymnasium for at least one of the SUNYAC tournament games, and then if we're hosting again, I'll likely be there for an NCAA tournament game as well.
Let me know so we can get together. And I'd like to have you meet the team. And I would tell you this, all right? I really appreciate you taking the time to follow our program and to have me on. One of the challenges at our level, especially locally with such a great program like Syracuse and now LeMoyne being Division I, is sometimes, and rightfully so, we don't get the same level of coverage. But having an alum who's taken such great pride in what we're doing here is a very thankful thing for me. And I can tell you what we have going on up here is pretty special. These guys are really, really good basketball players. We got a great team. We've won that, and I'm not saying this to be braggadocious, but just for your listeners, we've won 77 of our last 84 games. And if anybody's looking for something to do and wants to watch good basketball and veteran players play the right way, I would encourage you to come up and watch us play. This is an awesome group of kids.
Coach, if you don't want to be braggadocious, I'll be braggadocious for you. If you watch Oswego basketball, you're watching the best basketball team in Central New York. The best college basketball program in this area is on Lake Ontario, in my opinion. I think you've done a fantastic job. And hey, in my opinion, if Syracuse is looking for another coach in a few years, I don't know if there'd be a much better spot to look than 45 minutes north. So, Coach, it's been an honor talking to you as always. Love talking about this team. And when I do make my way to the Maxiel Gymnasium, I'll be sure to let you know. All right.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate everything. Best of luck.
Best of luck to you too. There he is, Coach Jason LeMoyne, head men's basketball coach at SUNY Oswego.
What a guy.
What a guy.
What a guy.
I just love the not to be braggadocious, but my team doesn't lose.
Right.
It's just
at the end, he's like, hey, I know I've been pretty humble throughout this whole thing. We're really freaking good.
They are.
Okay.
They're really freaking good, man.
Yeah.
Maybe I gotta make it out to at least a SUNYAC game, and then hopefully they'll be hosting for the NCAA tournament again, which they did last year, and I went to that game as well. So a lot of fun. And Jim said it in our chat, if you want to watch them, WTOP 10 on YouTube streams every game.
Oh,
yeah, at least the home games.
Okay.
So the game tonight will be on. They're playing Buff State today at 4 p.m. So this afternoon, if you want to check out some Oswego Laker basketball, I highly recommend it. Like Coach said, they play a very exciting brand of basketball as well.
I'll be in the YouTube chat trolling Buff State.
Oh, yeah. It's just
I'll be there, Jim. If you're on there, I'll shoot you a message in there.
So make sure to check them out. That was Coach Jason LeMoyne, Oswego State basketball. Got to take a timeout. We'll be right back here on Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse on the Score 1260. For the best local beer in Central New York, the only place you need to look is Myers Creek Brewing Company, with 16 different beers on tap at both the Inner Harbor in Syracuse and the Palace that is the Cazenovia location. Myers Creek has something for everyone. Want a bite to eat? Both locations feature a kitchen with delicious pizzas, some of the best wings in Syracuse, and much more. Make sure to check out our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company, the official bar of Outside the Box Score.
Ready to take your career to...
I would love to bet on the Oswego Buff State game.
I feel your pain, Jim, but I will say I think I have seen D3 tournament lines before on mine. So when tournament season comes around, you should be able to get that. Hopefully. I think.
Hopefully. Yeah, I mean, I'll bet Oswego against Randolph-Macon.
I remember our senior year, I may have wagered Oswego against Nazareth. I think they were playing in... Well, again, in my senior year.
Yeah, it was my junior year.
Yeah, I think they played Nazareth in the tournament.
I think they did, yeah.
I believe I had a wager on Oswego. So, yeah, I think you'll be able to find that eventually. But that's where that's where it comes in. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good to know Jim's out there betting with it, too, though. He's
I'll
throw it around.
Yeah.
Oswego hockey would be fun, too. Can you imagine having a puck line?
They lost last
game?
night, by the way.
To who?
Cortland.
Jesus Christ. This team. This is why. I mean, wait, is Gosick still coaching there? Gosick?
Yeah, Gosick, yeah. Yeah, Gosick's still the coach.
Maybe it's time for him to Bayheim.
I
don't know. I mean, and I'm not saying go kill a guy on 1-4. I'm saying that I think it's time for him to maybe step down. I mean, what's happening here?
I know. The program's in shambles.
You beat, honestly, though, like, as long as you beat Plattsburgh and if you're...
Yeah, I mean, they beat Plattsburgh twice.
Right. If you're thinking about the job of an Oswego hockey coach, it's beat Plattsburgh is number one.
Yeah.
And then you win.
It's like coaching at Ohio State or Michigan.
Yeah. Beat your rival.
Yeah, beat the other one. That's all that matters.
Yeah. He's getting up there, right?
I don't know how old Gosick is.
He was old when we were there.
He's been around for a while. Long time.
He's a great guy too, though. He does a lot of good for that.
Oh yeah, really good guy. I've only talked to him like twice.
It's hard, because I wonder if Leon's more open with media personality now, like at the school.
Yeah,
it sounds like he would be open to that. Anybody covering it at any level.
Oh yeah.
Whereas Ed was hard to get in contact.
Oh yeah.
Even if you were like, hey, I work with WNYO, I want to write a beat. No.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get in that guy's ear.
Leon is. He's interesting with student media.
Okay.
I always compared him to Bayheim because in post-game press conferences, if you asked a stupid question, he was the first one to let you know that he thought it was a stupid question. But I thought that was great.
It's kind of at that level, yeah.
Yeah, I greatly appreciated that as a young college reporter learning how to interview coaches. Right. I loved stuff like that. Like I knew what questions he would answer and what questions he wouldn't.
Yeah.
And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse. Forgot to mention earlier, we do have a full house. We've got Josh and Braylon. You've heard them already. That was Coach Jason LeMoyne just previously. Great guy, great coach.
Love the little inside scoop there, too. You watch him for, the press is coming. I like that.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, give him
That's why Jim wanted that first half line. They're going to be aggressive up front. Early.
And when I mentioned, like, I've always liked his style of basketball, Oswego, since we've been there, was always a hard-nosed defensive team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think back to guys like they had a guy named Joe Sullivan who transferred from it was either a D1 or a D2 school. It was a higher level school, and he transferred to Oswego. And he was 6'4", 230, 235, just a bull of a guy. Yeah, he was a big forward, and he could do it all, too. He's a good passer. But just watching him on the defensive end just go body to body against people on the boards was special.
My favorite kid to watch, and this is an easy one, Quinn
Carey?
Yes.
Three-point shooter?
Yeah.
That guy was lights out,
He
dude.
was Steph Curry of D3 basketball.
Yeah.
He really was. He was electric.
I still have on my demo reel a call of me calling a Quinn Carey game-winning three.
Oh.
He had a buzzer beater one game when I was on the call, and it was just electric, dude.
The zeal went crazy.
Oh, the zeal went nuts. It was a conference game. I don't remember who it was against. It might have been Oneonta, was like always a thorn in our side when I was there. Because they had another guy named Joe Bull, who very fitting of his name.
Raging Bull.
Oh my, this dude, man. He was 6'4", 6'5", 265, 270. Like he was
in a China shop.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he'd get down low and no one could go up against this dude. He torched us for 20 and 15 every single time he played us. But I want to say it was against Oneonta that Quinn Carey hit that shot. I'd have to find it.
Yeah.
But those teams were a lot of fun.
Don't you keep your reel on you? It's saved on YouTube. Like it's your top.
Well,
top browser, don't you have it?
I don't have it on you. I don't have it on YouTube. No, I probably should.
You show it to anybody.
Yeah,
That is my reel.
Someone, please listen to this. Anyone, please. I swear, I was a play-by-play guy once.
You hear me? I got it right here.
I know what I'm doing. I've called professional baseball games. Please listen. That's how I go about getting a job.
Yeah.
Just walk up to people.
Please
listen to my demo reel. But yeah, I mean, Coach Whelan's just done such a fantastic job there. And what do you say, 13 years now with the program, and it's a basketball school. It's just a basketball school now. Hockey's been great. Beat Plattsburgh twice. Lost to Cortland last night 2-1. Those jerks. Not Cortland, man.
Cortland was always an easy one.
Yeah, Cortland kind of stinks, man.
I mean, if it's not Geneseo or
Plattsburgh,
it's a disappointment.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's still just me. I know that years change. They probably don't get as I don't know. There's probably a bunch of reasons why.
Yeah.
It just sucks.
It just sucks.
Yeah.
And especially coming off of the whiteout win against the top 5 ranked Plattsburgh team. It's like this team's got it.
It's like you just beat UNC in your house,
and then you're gonna lose.
To Georgia Tech,
and you're gonna lose by 11.
Yeah, as a favorite somehow.
Yes,
the line's completely switched.
I think it has. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we opened as a dog. Now a favorite, but hey, that game's at 5:30 today on the CW, by the way, which is how you know no one's gonna watch it. The CW, the home for ACC sports, no one wants. Yeah, Jim says in the chat, SU currently -2, coming off an 86-79 upset of UNC on Tuesday night. I was on the court after the game. That was an atmosphere that the Dome hasn't had in a long time. And even I went to the Duke game last year at the Dome, and it wasn't. I mean, granted, SU lost by 25 in that game. I think it was never a game, but
I'm interested in the atmosphere in the Dome because at home. They're up at halftime, right?
Yep.
And as a home viewer, you're kind
of
thinking,
was tied.
It was tied at half.
42.
But a good half.
Yeah, 42 all at half.
Are the wheels gonna come off? Inside the Dome, I'm certain that people were still we're gonna win this game. Is that right? Was the feeling or
it was for the first 10 minutes or so of the second half, it was cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
It was like, okay, we had a good half. Let's just keep it rolling, keep it rolling, keep it rolling. Then after about 10 minutes, everyone's like, wait a minute. Are we going to win this basketball game?
Yeah.
I was texting our good friend Adam.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I think we might win the game. I think we might beat UNC.
Yeah.
And with about 7 minutes left in the game, I went to the game with my girlfriend. and I looked to her. I said, if SU wins, there's no keeping me off the court tonight. I don't care if I'm the only person. I'm getting on that court if SU wins. Thankfully, I wasn't alone. And we stormed the court. It was, so SU wasn't a dog, but it was even at one point. It was a pick 'em at one point. But it was great, man. I mean, Judah had a great game. JJ had a great game. It was just an all-around really good team victory.
Yep.
Something that when SU has had its best wins this year, that was the case. It was a good team win. It wasn't just Judah going off for 30 and, no one can stop Judah Mintz, which he had a great game. He scored 24 points against UNC on Tuesday. I think it was 24. So he had a great game, but everyone has to contribute in these big wins, and that's exactly what we got on Tuesday. I do kind of fully expect them to lose today, just because SU loves to break my heart. And we'll see. Should we beat Georgia Tech? Yes. Georgia Tech is not very good.
Yep. Home team bias in college sports has never been greater. I think I told you this a couple weeks ago, but like the stats on when good teams play each other, and I don't know that Georgia Tech falls into that category, but when like two top 150 teams in the rankings, I don't know that Georgia Tech's there.
I think they probably are, yeah.
The team at home wins at like a 70-some% clip. It's just it's an unfair advantage these days, and it's good to see. I mean, it's like I like the home field advantage. It's an interesting. That's why college sports are great.
Yeah, I think home field advantage is much more prevalent in college anyway than it is in the pros.
And it's always tough. Those road teams when they're favorites, even, and you're like, I don't know, on the road, it's gonna be a tough. It's gonna be a tough one. Don't expect SU to blow anybody out today.
No, I don't expect this to be a blowout at all. I mean, this team's just going to continue to raise up and then destroy us.
They could. I mean, what would be better for Syracuse? I mean, what's more Syracuse than that? All hope is gone. You've completely given up on the season. We're going to get trounced by UNC. I don't even care. They win the UNC game, storm the court for the first time, and first top 5 win in 6 years?
Yeah, since Duke in 2019.
So 5 years.
So 5 years.
Whatever it was. And then just blow it to Georgia Tech. Just bring you right back down instantly.
That's the Cuse.
That's Dallas. That's
that,
what it is.
Yeah,
That's
like
it, baby.
It's that they call them the cardiac Cuse for a reason.
Yeah,
it's because it hurts my heart to watch them play game in and game out. I do have an update on Syracuse basketball.
Okay,
want to get into this at least briefly. We know that Benny Williams was dismissed from the team recently. I told you all last week that I had some feelers out there. I had heard some things about Benny's dismissal from the team. I have heard from yet another source that the reason for Benny's dismissal involved some kind of physical interaction with Coach Adrian Autry. These sources I have not disclosed what exactly happened. I tried to get a little more out of him, but it was not the case. But that it was during practice.
Yep.
There was some form of physical altercation interaction between Benny Williams and Coach Adrian Autry. Seemed to be boiling over from the Wake Forest game, where Benny sort of shoulder checked Autry and looked utterly uninterested in the end of that game. Oh my God, we have a first.
What happened?
In the chat?
Who?
We have a bot.
A bot?
We have a bot in the chat.
Can we get bots?
We get bots now, apparently.
What'd they say?
Something about buying followers.
All right, I'm in. I got my credit card ready. Sorry, go on.
I shouldn't have gotten distracted by that in the middle of this, but I did.
What?
I just saw a long paragraph and I was bot. Anyway, I mean, you can't do that. If what I've heard, and I've also heard that maybe an assistant was involved as well. I was talking to a person close to the situation, and I had just said what I had heard. I was like, hey, I heard that it was a physical thing with Autry. And this person said to me, there's a little bit more to it than that. But yeah, that's what it boils down to. And you can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, when we talked about it earlier in the year, it's like emotions get high. Obviously,
Yes.
Benny is a super talented player and really wants to see SU succeed. I mean, he's been there for years. He wants to see them grow as a unit now. And yeah, sometimes it just goes too far, and it went too far earlier in the year. And we thought that was, a little slap on the wrist suspension. And if it's, it's just too much.
Yeah.
And it's good to, move on maybe as an organization and move forward.
Yeah, if what I had heard is true, I think it was the right decision.
Yep.
To dismiss Benny from the team. Hopefully he gets help. It seems like he could use someone to talk to, based on some of the things I've heard. Hopefully he gets help and can figure things out. And I hope he catches on with another Division I program and goes and succeeds there.
He's going to be a guy like we were talking about with Richardson.
Yeah.
Kadari Richardson? What's his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who when SU fans see him go elsewhere, Richmond. Sorry, and succeed, that's going to be a guy that they can really get behind. I think,
Kadari Richmond. I was thinking Malachi Richardson for a second.
Richardson?
You said Richardson. I'm like, yeah, former SU point guard. Yeah, Kadari Richardson. Richmond.
I got you.
But yeah, I think he'll go on to another Division I program, probably one not as high profile as SU, but I think he'll go on to another Division I program, and I really hope he succeeds because I think the athleticism and the talent is there. I know for a fact the athleticism is there. I maintained he was the best athlete on the team, but I think the talent is there as well. It's a tough situation for everyone involved. The players seemed slightly unhappy about the dismissal, but if it was a physical altercation with the head coach during practice, then that's perfectly fair grounds for dismissal. So just wanted to give a little update on Benny Williams there. Do have to take a break. We'll be right back here on Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse on the Score 1260. If you're a fan of local craft beer, the only place you need to go is Myers Creek Brewing Company with 16 brews on tap at both the Cazenovia and Inner Harbor locations. Myers Creek has the best selection of locally brewed libations in all of Central New York. Want a nice hazy IPA? The Velvet Fog is a must-try. More of a traditional Pilsner, how about the Floatin' on By? And for you sour drinkers, the It Takes Blue to Mango. So crack open a cold one with the official beer of Outside the Box Score, Myers Creek.
Hi, I'm Joe Serio, Top Tier Roofing. Did you know that Top...
On a real old wrestlers documentary kick.
Have you?
Yeah, because Burb was asking me about the Nature Boy doc, and I was like, I'd never seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll watch it. Watch that. Then I went on to watch Andre the Giant. Jesus, why am I... Randy Savage, the Macho Man.
Macho Man, sure.
Michaels and Steve Austin's. I mean, I'm just killing Mick Foley's as well. I'm just going through them. Mick Foley, by the way, one of the nicest guys of all time.
I've heard that.
Like all the other wrestlers got into it. Like all of the documentaries at one point goes, but then it's like he did drugs, people, something bad happened. Shawn Michaels gets assaulted in Syracuse. Something bad happens. Mick Foley never drank a day, like didn't do any of that. Family man, would leave, come home all the time. What a guy who just loved to get abused in the ring. Deathmatch king.
But yeah, I had heard that he was like the nice guy of wrestling.
Yeah.
He was just.
And he, so now he's deathmatch guy. Last night on my TikTok, scrolling through, live stream pops up, some random deathmatch in some indie, whatever.
You were talking about that in the Discord last night.
Just some local cafeteria probably putting this thing on. Guys making $50 a pop, hitting each other with light tubes. And
light tubes.
I mean, some guy got doused in lighter fluid. How could I look away? I'm like, is he gonna get lit on fire in this auditorium?
You love your low level wrestling.
I do. I mean, part of me thinks like that's not really pro wrestling at that level. It's not even great. But the entertainment value is still there. I respect that. Whether it, takes skill or whatever, probably not as much. But hell of an entertainment.
I mean, they're risking their lives.
They are, buddy. I saw some guy get, punctured with a fork till he bled. That's something. I don't know what it is, but it's
Reminds
something.
me of when we watched what's his name stab that guy.
New Jack?
Yeah, New Jack.
R.I.P. New Jack. That dude was crazy.
Yeah, we watched him stab a
I
guy.
mean, he's legit a guy who, if I ever saw, I'd just tell him I loved him because if I said anything else, I'd be afraid of him.
Yeah, he
I'd
might
be
kill
afraid
you.
of talking to him. Yeah.
He's got this interview. I don't know if it's still on YouTube. It's like an hour long.
Oh God.
And like, it's crazy.
And we're back. Outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the score 1260. We were joined by Coach Jason Leone earlier, talk some SU basketball. I want to talk some more college basketball on the women's side of things.
Bring her up.
Got to talk some Caitlin Clark.
Mm-mm.
Wow. I mean, she needed 8 points going into the Thursday's game against Michigan to become the all-time leading scorer in Division I women's basketball history. And she did so in about 2 minutes, including to break the record, a 3 from the parking lot, as we've come accustomed to see her do her signature. And we'll talk about this. They call that a logo shot. She wasn't on the main logo, but she was in line with the end of the logo. We still calling that a logo shot?
I mean, I'd give it a logo. I mean, it doesn't matter.
If anything, it was closer to the sponsor logo. Okay. I mean, it's from the parking lot. I mean, it's a 40-foot 3-pointer that she made.
Getting into semantics now.
Yeah, but
it was a long 3.
Yeah, it was
Criteria
long.
for a logo shot.
Yeah,
It's got to be put in the rule book.
Yeah, I think it does. Listen, people want to add. They added the 4-point shot to the All-Star game or whatever, and
It's right around there.
Yeah, it's right around
where
there.
they did it in the Ice Cube League. It's where that.
Yeah, the big
4-point
3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's where that one was.
But she is, and she's now. We saw it earlier. She's like 90 points shy of Pistol Pete Maravich for the all-time men's and women's scoring record. She'll likely get that before the season wraps up. We are getting close to March Madness here, but she's got a few games left. And she scored 49 points.
She can also come back next year.
Yeah. Which Jim just asked in the chat, do you think Clark returns next year at Iowa? Buchers is coming back to UConn next year. And yeah, and Jim, yeah, D1 scoring record. I believe people in Division 2 or 3 have scored more than Pistol Pete Maravich, but the D1 scoring record.
Yeah.
I'd love to see her come back.
I think it all matters on a couple things. One, how far they make it in the tournament, because I think she really likes Iowa. Like I don't see her going anywhere else, obviously, but I think it depends on how far she can go. If they win another chip, and I think she makes more money at Iowa than she would in the WNBA.
That's the thing. Is I think she probably does.
I don't know how much more though, because like once you go to the WNBA, they could probably use her as like another mega star to push their brand, which they are getting more popular. Like, Braylee, you watch games. I've watched some games.
I watch games.
Those
yeah.
lull times, they have a great season actually. Like when they play, it's the perfect time where not a lot of other sports are going on. You're like, I might watch this. The Liberty. Okay,
yeah,
I like the Liberty. It's my team.
I'm
Sabrina. I root for Sabrina all the time. I honestly.
I thought you were an Aces guy.
No, that's Austin. Kelsey Plum.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Austin's the Aces guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is a Kelsey Plum.
Which Kelsey Plum. Not
a
bad person to root for.
No, not at all. Just got her record broken. So maybe Caitlin Clark will be the next Kelsey Plum, which I actually no. I don't know if Caitlin Clark will be the next anybody. I think she's just the first Caitlin Clark. I mean, she's unbelievable. Like I said, 49 points. Also had 11 assists in that game. I think. Against Michigan, she's insane.
I don't get the people who, when the
Pistons are on the clock. By the way, that's all I'm going to say. The Pistons are on the clock.
I don't. Yeah, I saw someone who's like, she's damn sure better than Killian Hayes. And I'm like, come on, man, that dude doesn't need that. But
Mhm.
I don't get the hate where people, when she was about to break it, and they're like, "Well, she needed more games than it," which of course she didn't. She did it in less games in Plum,
Yeah.
same amount of time, whatever.
Mhm.
But like, I don't get the hate. Why hate it? It's
People have to hate. There have to be people that hate everything.
Just complain about it, just to be complaining.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't get it.
These are people that don't watch.
Right.
People complaining about Caitlin Clark have never watched Caitlin Clark play
They
basketball.
probably have never watched women's basketball, so it doesn't
Probably
matter.
not.
It just doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It'd be one
Yeah.
thing to just be like, "I don't care. That's stupid." Be like, "Okay, I'll take that." But to
Yeah,
crap on it.
you're still wrong, but
Sure.
yeah,
Sure,
it's,
but I almost accept that more to be like the whole thing's stupid. You go, okay, you sexist. I get that.
Yeah.
You just don't like women's sports. Understood.
Yeah.
I don't need to talk to you.
Yeah.
But for someone who's like in it to be like, she's, all she does is score. This,
Ah,
it's like,
3-point merchant. What?
girl makes threes.
Yeah,
What's the problem?
she's a
Steph
great
Curry
shooter.
does the same thing.
Yeah,
Steph
Steph
Curry like only shoots threes now. If you watch him play, he does nothing else for most of the game. He
Yeah.
just stands there, runs around. Oh, I'm
The
gonna shoot a
Warriors
three.
are killing Steph Curry.
Clay Thompson has been in the league for a long time. All he does is catch and shoot threes. Like,
Yeah, I don't get the hate. Go Caitlin.
But I think if she puts her name in the draft, somebody might waste a late first rounder, second rounder on her.
why not?
I don't see her going like top 10, top 15, but when you get to like 28, 29, just
I'm
like,
telling
oh,
you, I'm telling you right now, the Pistons are on the clock. Like, just I really think, I think just as an experiment, we should put her in the G League for like a month, just see what would happen.
I think she might get a couple hard fouls.
Well, yeah.
I think some guys would not like that.
Yeah, but probably not because they're jerks. But
Sure. But I think it's just insulting to them. They would
Yeah.
make sure this doesn't pan out for her.
I just see what happens.
Sure.
I think it'll be an interesting experiment. We do have to take one more time out. We'll be right back here on Outside the Box. We'll wrap things up here on the Score 1260. If you're a fan of local craft beer, the only place you need to go is Myers Creek Brewing Company with 16 brews on tap at both the Cazenovia and Inner Harbor locations. Myers Creek has the best selection of locally brewed libations in all of Central New York. Want a nice hazy IPA? The Velvet Fog is a must-try. More of a traditional Pilsner, how about the Floatin' on By? And for you sour drinkers, the It Takes Blue to Mango. So crack open a cold one with the official beer of Outside the Box Score, Myers Creek.
We're buying whatever you're selling.
Jim says, not counting SU players, can you name more men or women college hoops players? Definitely men.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I only know Reese and
Yeah, Angel Reese. And apparently it's
the Louisville
Beckers.
girl.
Apparently, yeah, because you said Buckers,
Yeah.
and I thought it was Bukers. Apparently it's Beckers. We were both wrong. So thanks, Jim. So do we lay the -2 or stay away for SU? Don't touch it. That's a trap game if there ever was one.
Just watch the first half and see what you like.
Yeah.
Watch the first half. If they're getting blown out,
Maybe
take
jump
them to
on
cover
the
points.
SU spread. Yeah.
Sure. If they're blowing out, maybe take the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, Jim's in chat naming all sorts of women's college basketball players.
You looking up Wikipedia right now, Jim? That's cheating.
And we're back, wrapping up another fun-filled hour here on Outside the Box Score. With me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Shout out to Jason Leone for joining us. Great guest, as always. Love talking to him about Oswego hoops. Shout out to our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company, by the way. 2 locations, the Inner Harbor here in Syracuse and the Palace out in Cazenovia. I was at the Inner Harbor on Wednesday for trivia night again. Second place finish for Bedrock Construction, something like, we're just used to it. Yeah, that's the trivia name, Bedrock Construction. Little joke about the Flintstones there. And shout out Jim the Manchild Lurch for coming up with that name a long time ago. He's our trivia captain. So second place finish, had some delicious beer. As always, delicious food. Make sure to check out our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company. Like I said, 2 locations, 16 beers on tap, count them, 16 at both of the locations. Any final thoughts, gentlemen? Go SU, go Oswego. Big game today, Buff State.
Delray Beach final in tennis coming up.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Big Foe could be an
Big Foe. Well,
He's been struggling to start the year.
Yeah,
he
has
needs
been.
one. He needs his 250 under his belt.
Yeah, we need him. Thank you everybody for listening. Thanks to Josh. Thanks to Braylon for being here. Thanks to Coach Jason Leone. We'll be back next week, same time, same channel, 11 a.m. right here on the Score 1260. Peace.